Before he was the world's richest man, his family had a philosophy. Every man inherits something from the generation before him. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's land, sometimes it's a set of ideas about how the world should be ordered and who deserves to be on top. The story of Elon Musk, the world's richest man, owner of a platform used by 250 million people, largest donor in US political history, starts not with him. It starts with his grandfather. And when you understand where this family came from and what they believed and what they built, what Elon Musk does today stops being surprising. It starts making a different kind of sense. Chapter 1. The Grandfather, a man who chose his country carefully. Joshua Haldeman, born 1902 in Minnesota, raised in Saskatchewan, Canada, chiropractor by trade, political radical by conviction. In the 1930s, Haldeman became the head of the Canadian branch of a movement called Technocracy Incorporated. The movement's core idea, democracy, was inefficient. Elected politicians were corrupt and incompetent. The solution was to replace democratic governments with rule by engineers, scientists, and corporate technocrats, people who knew how to run things. By the late 1930s, the movement had adopted increasingly fascist aesthetics. Members wore grey uniforms modeled on Nazi paramilitary dress. They used numbers instead of names. They performed quasi-military salutes. When Canada declared war on Germany in 1939 alongside Britain, Technocracy Incorporated was banned. Haldeman was arrested by the RCMP, charged with stirring up disloyalty to the Crown, and found guilty. He paid his fine. He eventually left the movement, but he didn't change direction. He found a new destination. In 1950, Joshua Haldeman moved his family from Canada to South Africa. Apartheid had been formally introduced just 2 years earlier, a system of codified racial segregation that classified every citizen by race, banned intermarriage, and gave white South Africans near total economic and political dominance over the black majority. According to Elon's own father, Elon Musk, Haldeman moved specifically because he agreed with the apartheid government, and Haldeman's own letters from South Africa make his views explicit, praising the system, denigrating black workers, and embracing the racial hierarchy as natural and correct. It is impossible to make a native work hard. It takes 3 natives to do the work of 1 white man. Joshua Haldeman, letter published in the Regina Leader Post after arriving in South Africa, 1950. This is Elon Musk's maternal grandfather, a man who led a proto-fascist movement in Canada, was convicted by his own country, and then relocated his entire family to live under apartheid because he believed in it. He also wrote a book defending South Africa's apartheid system. He died in 1974. Elon Musk was 3 years old. Chapter 2. The Father, Apartheid, Emeralds, and a Country Built on Extraction. Elon Musk, Elon's father, was born into apartheid South Africa and built his life inside its structures. He was a property developer and engineer. He served on Pretoria City Council, and in the 1980s, he became involved in emerald operations in Zambia, acquiring a stake in a mine through what he himself described as a barter deal, trading a plane for emeralds. The exact extent of that wealth and how much it supported the family is genuinely disputed. Elon has pushed back on the most dramatic versions of this story. What is not disputed is the context. White South African professionals operating in the mineral economies of Southern Africa in the 1970s and 1980s did so inside a system that granted them access to labor, to land, to resources that was structured entirely by apartheid. Musk lived what can only be described as a neo-colonial life. If you were a white South African in that period and you had any money at all, you lived with servants at your beck and call. Elon Musk himself has called his father a terrible human being and describes a brutal childhood The two are reportedly estranged. This is not about personal sympathy for either of them. It is about one specific pattern. A family that for 3 generations chose to build its life inside systems of racial hierarchy, technocracy in Canada, apartheid in South Africa, and extracted wealth from those systems. That pattern is the context for everything that follows. Chapter 3. The Platform. What changed when Musk took over Twitter? On October 27, 2022, Elon Musk completed a $44 billion acquisition of Twitter and renamed it X. Within weeks, he had fired roughly 80% of the staff, including most of the trust and safety teams responsible for content moderation. He reinstated thousands of previously banned accounts, including those of white supremacists, conspiracy theorists, and far-right agitators who had violated the platform's own rules. He also, according to multiple journalistic investigations, made structural changes to X's algorithm, changes that amplified his own posts and those of accounts he personally engaged with, which skewed heavily toward the political right. The effect was measurable. Tommy Robinson, a British far-right activist banned from Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for hate speech violations, had his X posts viewed over 580 million times in 2 weeks following the Southport attacks in 2024. On every other major platform, he did not exist. On X, he reached an audience larger than most national broadcasters. When the UK riots broke out, triggered by false posts on X claiming a Muslim immigrant had killed children in Southport, he was a British-born teenager of Rwandan heritage, Musk did not issue a correction. He posted that civil war was inevitable. In January 2025, during the UK grooming gang's political controversy, he posted 51 times in a single month on the topic. Those 51 posts generated 1.2 billion engagements on a platform where he controls the algorithm. The billionaire has made structural changes to his platform's algorithm to favor his content and that of far-right users in the feed, as various journalistic investigations have documented. This is not a coincidence. A platform does not amplify far-right content at this scale by accident. Someone decides what the algorithm rewards. Elon Musk owns the algorithm. Chapter 4. Buying an election. The $295 million investment. In the summer of 2024, Elon Musk made a decision that no private individual in American history had made quite like this before. He founded America PAC, a super political action committee, and began funneling money into it at a rate of $45 million a month. By election day, he had spent approximately $295 million supporting Donald Trump and other Republicans, making him the single largest donor in the entire 2024 US election cycle. He didn't just write checks. He attended Trump campaign rallies. He hosted them on X. He ran America PAC's door-to-door canvassing operations in the most contested states. He ran ads on X that critics said impersonated Democratic messaging to mislead voters. When Trump won, Musk was rewarded. He was appointed senior advisor to the president and made de facto head of the newly created Department of Government Efficiency. DOG, an unelected South African-born immigrant, was now co-running the executive branch of the United States government. He later claimed, during his very public falling out with Trump, that without him, Trump would have lost the election, Democrats would control the House, and the Senate would be 51-49. He called Trump ungrateful. Without me, Trump would have lost the election. Think about what that claim means. The world's richest man, a man who was born in South Africa, who immigrated to America on a student visa, is claiming credit for deciding who runs the most powerful country on earth and using his own platform to make that claim to 250 million followers. That is not civic participation. That is purchase. Chapter 5. Exporting the model. Germany, UK, Italy, and the European project. The US election was not the end. It was the template. In December 2024, Musk published an op-ed in the German newspaper Welt am Sonntag, declaring that only the alternative for Germany, the AfD, could save Germany. The paper's opinion editor resigned in protest the same day. The AfD is classified by several German intelligence agencies as a suspected extremist organization threatening German democracy. It has members with documented links to neo-Nazi networks. Musk called it the Party of Normal People. In January 2025, he hosted a live-streamed conversation on X with AfD leader Alice Weidel.
Welcome, Alice. Thank you for joining Spaces, and I look forward to this discussion. And perhaps we could start by outlining, if you could outline what AfD's platform is, what are the main things you're aiming at?
A direct campaign event for a foreign election, broadcast globally on a platform he owns. Germany's parliament examined whether it constituted illegal election interference. The EU's Digital Services Act was invoked. No action was taken. In the UK, he endorsed Nigel Farage's Reform Party, then publicly fell out with Farage and declared he doesn't have what it takes before re-engaging. Reports emerged that he was considering donating up to $100 million to Reform UK. In Italy, he praised Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, whose party has post-fascist roots, calling her Europe's finest leader. The pattern is consistent. Across every Western democracy, Musk uses X to amplify far-right anti-immigration, anti-Muslim parties, and leaders. He uses his personal account, algorithmically boosted, as the distribution system, and he uses his wealth to back them financially where law permits. The German Chancellor's response to Musk's interventions was, "Don't feed the troll." The problem with that advice is that this particular troll owns the newspaper. Chapter 6. The Crash Out. Doge, the Epstein bomb, and what it revealed. January 20th, 2025. Elon Musk stood on stage at Trump's inauguration and pumped his fist twice in a gesture that sparked worldwide commentary. He then spent 5 months as de facto co-head of the US government through Doge. He fired thousands of federal employees. He accessed sensitive government systems. He dismantled diversity programs. He tried to fire the heads of independent agencies. Courts blocked many of his moves. Meanwhile, Tesla's stock had collapsed by roughly 50%. Musk's net worth had dropped by hundreds of billions. His brand, particularly in Europe, was in freefall. Tesla dealerships were being vandalized. Customers were returning cars. In May 2025, Musk left Doge. The official reason, he was needed back at his companies. Then Trump introduced his one big beautiful bill. It eliminated electric vehicle subsidies that had made Tesla vehicles more affordable. Musk, who had spent $295 million getting Trump elected, called the bill a disgusting abomination. The fallout turned nuclear on June 5th. 2025. Time to drop the really big bomb. At Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT, Elon Musk on X. He provided zero evidence. He deleted the post within days, but it had already been seen by tens of millions of people. What this moment revealed was something important, and it had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. It revealed that Musk's entire political operation had always been transactional. He spent $295 million to buy access and regulatory favor for his companies. When that deal went bad, when the EV subsidies were cut, the alliance dissolved overnight. He is not an ideologue, he is a buyer, and when the purchase stops delivering value, he moves to the next transaction. The Economist's editor-in-chief, Zanny Minton Beddoes, asked him in July 2026, "Why should you be able to shape European politics? You don't even live there." He couldn't answer, so he called her a traitor to the West. That is who he is. A man who can spend $295 million influencing a democracy, but cannot answer a single question about why he should be allowed to. 3 generations, 1 straight line. None of this means that a grandfather's sins are a grandson's guilt, but it does mean something when a man whose family chose apartheid, whose grandfather led a movement to replace democracy with technocratic rule, whose wealth was built inside a system of racial hierarchy. It means something when that man now uses the world's most powerful media platform to tell us which immigrants are dangerous, which religions are threats, and which political parties should run Europe. Joshua Haldeman believed democracy was inefficient and should be replaced by the right kind of people in charge. His grandson owns the algorithm, donated $295 million to install a president, and ran a department of the US government without ever being elected to anything. The ideology didn't disappear. It just got a better distribution system. Learn the other side of the map. Next on Chain of Command, the billionaires who buy countries. When private wealth gets to decide public policy, who is anyone accountable to? Subscribe.